All right, the Metal Webzine. How did it start?
Um, in like in 2014, I don't want to say which one because I don't want to start any shit, but I was writing for a bigger uh a bigger webzine here in New York State, and I didn't like the way my content was being monitored, and I didn't like the way that I was given like specific content. Like I couldn't just do whatever I wanted. Basically, is like the easiest way to put it. And I
Yeah.
wanted to, you know what I mean. Like it was the year At the Gates released their first album in like, in like 18 years or something like that. And I didn't want to have to ask somebody permission to review the new At the Gates record. Like I remember that was one major thing that year. So I started my own metal webzine, and I had a few people in mind. Like Mike Dietzman uh,
Hmm.
has been my main partner from the beginning, and I had a few other people in mind that kind of fizzled out, and
Yeah.
then we just started. We just wanted to educate people about like the local bands in Buffalo and Rochester. So that's what we started out doing. Was we started writing articles and posting pieces and like just pointing out the specific bands that we really enjoyed. And it was always difficult for me because as like I've been a part of the scene for like 20 years, and I've always been in a band.
Uh-huh.
So like I started the web scene. I didn't want to talk about my own band, so I really avoided that at all costs.
Yeah,
So it was really
exactly.
just Dietzman and I pointing out all our favorite Buffalo and Rochester bands and trying to like get those bigger national show crowds to come to local shows, because the big fucking thing is that I notice is like when Cannibal Corpse comes to town, or if you go to any bigger like death metal show, for example, in the area, you see all these people, all these metalheads come out of the woodwork, and I get people travel from out of town. But every time I go to a local show, I always ask myself the same question, like, where the fuck are all these people that I see at the bigger shows? Like,
Yeah,
like, why
exactly.
do these people only exist on these bigger nights? So that was like the main motivation for starting it. So now, it's 5 years later, and since moving to Southern California, I've incorporated a lot of bands and venues from out there, like into the circuit. And I'm trying to start like a bi-coastal thing, but then
Hmm.
COVID-19 happened and kind of fucked that whole thing up. But
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I've been
and we've
hearing a
been
bunch
booking
of
our own
those.
shows right along too. Like we do like the webzine's anniversary. We do an
Yeah,
annual
yeah,
holiday show.
exactly.
We were doing Halloween for a while, so like we eventually started incorporating our own live shows into the mix too, to kind of like enhance the scene. So I guess that's the whole thing.
Yeah, that Halloween show with the recent one. I'm not sure. I think it was Gutted Alive. Some other people. I went to so many shows, dude. But I think that it's getting a lot of attention because I remember going to that show and be like, "Holy shit, man! Like this place is packed." Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
we had that was actually a different webzine that did it this past year, but
uh,
we did it at Bug Jar the previous Halloween, and it was basically the same lineup, and it was
gotcha.
just as packed. And that's one thing I've noticed over the last couple years is I've been trying to get in Rochester a little more, just because like the crowds and the venues and the bands in Rochester like have proven to be a little more dependable over time. So I'm trying to mix it up because I don't want to oversaturate Buffalo and then it's just totally dead.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Buffalo, did you listen to Anthropic's new album or Anthropic?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I reviewed it. I listened to it and reviewed it. I want to say a month ago, and I mean, I I I love what they do. It's definitely more of the same. I don't mean that in a negative
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like
connotation.
that. I feel like it's Cannibal Corpse, but like kind of the same realm. Like they kind of like to stick to their roots. I mean, it's not a bad
Yeah,
thing.
they're super consistent. And what I liked about Architects of Aggression in particular is that like it was recorded. It's the best sounding recording they've put out so
Oh,
far.
I know.
Like it
Doug
has a
kills
very
it, man.
crisp sound all the way through. Yeah, nailed the mix.
Doug is a freaking tank, man. Every every time I go there, he shows me all these CDs. I'm like, holy fuck, man, how do you do it? Like,
Hmm. Yeah, Doug's been there since '95.
Have you ever recorded there?
Yeah. This is back when I played drums. So the
Oh,
first time I went there,
I did not know
what's
that
that?
you played. I did not know that you played drums.
Yeah, when I started playing out in the scene, it was 2001. That was my first real show, I guess. Because you know how you play like bullshit shows, like before then there was like
The
there was
Evening
like a high
Star?
school talent show, there was this or that. But like
Shit.
my first real show was at the Fun House, which isn't open anymore. It's on Abbott. It was on Abbott in Lackawanna, and that was with a band called Catalyst, which I admit, it was kind of fucking new metal, but
Yeah.
like it was 2001, and
So
I
yeah,
just graduated. I was about to graduate from high school, so like that was my shit. And we would cover like Blind by Korn, or like Closer by Linkin Park and all that stupid shit. And
hell
like,
yeah.
or like we did Toxicity by System too, and like people fucking loved that. But then let's see, Watchman Studios. Yeah, that my first time there would have been February 2005, and I was playing drums in This Gun Smiles, and we were kind of like a thrash hardcore band.
Right. Have you been in, like, I know Aspired Affliction and The Last Rain. Is there any other bands that you've like tried out for in the metal scene that, like, I don't know, didn't work out?
Well,
or
yeah,
whatever?
I'll go back to the beginning. So on drums, I did that new metal band Catalyst, and then I did the thrashy hardcore band This Gun Smiles, and then I played drums in a metalcore band called Burn the Beautiful for a while. We went to New York City a couple times. That was cool. I only ended up, I was in a ton of bands in between like 2001 and 2006
Mm-hmm.
on drums. So like only like a 5-year period, but I was in so many bands around that time. And I like,
Right.
and every band was like the Broadway Joe's house band. But
Dude, I never
so
freaking made it to that place, dude. I was still,
oh really?
I'm
Yeah,
only 21, so
right.
whatever.
Oh yeah. No shit. No shit.
So,
So yeah, so those were like the main bands on drums, and then from 2006 to 2010 I was just a promoter. Like I brought a few like bigger packages to town, like I did Vital Remains and Arsis at Showplace, two separate occasions, and shit like that. And then like those were like the bigger ones that I did around that time. I did Kill
you said
Whitney Dead.
Arsis?
Yeah, I did Arsis at Showplace in 2007. Vital Remains a few months later. About a year before that, it was on 6606. I did Kill Whitney Dead at Broadway Joe's. So like I had a couple like noteworthy ones in like a couple year patch.
Uh-huh.
And then in 2010, I forced myself to learn guitar because I wanted to get back into playing, but I wanted to write the songs. And as a drummer, I was like usually taking orders from like guitar players. So I
Dude,
wanted
I
to like
feel
write
that
my own songs and start the
every
band.
drummer that I know does that. They're like, fuck playing drums, I'm playing guitar. Everyone I've ever met.
Well, yeah, and that's why there's such a scarcity, man. Because like usually, like, and I never really had this problem, but like a lot of guitarist attitudes, like, will deter drummers from playing drums. If they get in the wrong band, and then they'll either quit or gravitate towards a different instrument. And I think that's another reason that drummers are so scarce. It's not just the cost of like a quality drum set. It's more
Yeah.
about
Just dealing with people.
the attitude it goes into it too. And it takes a lot of discipline, like to be a good drummer. Like you really have to figure that shit out. You can't just bullshit your way through it.
Yeah.
Forced myself
it's
to
not no pop power chords.
no. So yeah, I forced myself to learn guitar in 2010 so I could start a band, and 10 years later we're still doing it, but we just took like 2 years off. It was like a hiatus. We broke up, but we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2015 to 2017, and during that time, that was when I was screening The Last Rain. And the main reason I did that was, well, I had never fronted a band before, and I love melodic death metal. Like that's my go-to. So like a newer pure melodic death metal band like coming up in the scene, like I wanted to at least try, But so yeah, that brings us up to the present.
Hell yeah. You guys just released a new album. It sounds sick. what the hell's the one song called? Hold up. I commented on your thing.
Dark Exile.
Yes, I did. That song is great.
Thanks, dude.
Do you write all of the music, or how's that? Because
I write the majority of the music. Yeah, like on the 2 full lengths we have out, like Jay could claim like a song or two. We both write guitar for every song. Like there's always a little percentage that is me or a little percentage that is Jay in every song. But I'd say that I write the majority of the music, and up until just recently, I was writing the majority of the lyrics.
Right.
But Tony really stepped up on the last album, and I'm glad he did, because he applied himself, and I like a lot of the lyrics. I like pretty much all the lyrics on the new album that he came up with. I think I only wrote lyrically, I think I only wrote like 2 or 3 songs on Artfully Imprisoned.
Yeah. Now, how, with moving to California, has that been like difficult? Is it just going to be like a record an album type thing, or are you eventually planning on like coming back and playing shows in Buffalo or Rochester once in a while?
I'm going to be back and forth for a while, realistically, because, I still have, I have my girlfriend, I have my family, I have my friends here in Buffalo, and I'm going to be, honoring, certain commitments, and, as long as I have the financial backing that I can do, and as long as I can afford to do it, like I've been doing since October is like a month here and a month there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to be doing for the foreseeable future. Again, COVID-19 fucked everything up, because for Aspired Infliction, like we had some plans, like we were supposed to already have shot a video in LA, because we had because I was getting us into a couple cool studios. Like there was one at UCLA, and then there was another spot at Warner Brothers that we were going to use. That was going to happen. I think that was supposed to happen last month, and then we pushed it until the end of May. We might still be able to do it at the end of next month, but it depends on, like the stay at home orders and shit like that.